Hey there, true believers. You're tuned into Baxter Building Radio via the Negative Zone feed, and welcome to episode 21 of the Fantastic Four Fancast. I'm your host, Nate Charles, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host. His name is Shane Murray. How are you this week, Shane?
I'm doing all right. As good as I can, I guess. How about yourself?
Yeah, about as good as I can. It's been a rough week, but I'm not gonna sit here and dwell on that. So we're just gonna keep on trucking forward. How you been keeping yourself busy lately?
Well, I helped some friends move last week, and then this week, uh, I finally cut through, I cut through all the back issues I had last week. Well,
Okay.
no, it was Monday night. I finally caught up. So I'm finally into the stuff that I got the last time I was at the shop.
Okay. So 2 months ago.
No, I was there last week.
Oh, okay.
So uh Wednesday or something.
All right. Nice.
Yeah, you went Thursday, right?
I
Because I
did. I
didn't see
did.
you.
Yes.
So, and I obviously didn't go Friday because was moved. I went south. So yeah, it was Wednesday.
Good, good. I'm glad to hear you caught up on some books.
Yeah, I
So,
now have to go hunt some books down though because they didn't have certain ones. So I wanted to go do it while we were down moving stuff, but we ended up moving stuff out of the storage unit until like 7:30.
yikes.
Yeah, when they said storage unit, I didn't realize how big their storage unit was. The storage unit was like the size of your apartment, bud.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Yeah, it was gross.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, that's oof. It's rough.
Yeah, 'cause it had like three couches in it, it had two dressers and like a kitchen, like the kitchen racks, like the five-tier kitchen racks, the metal
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah.
Six of them
Ooh.
on wheels. So like the big boys. Yeah. I think that was everything in there. I don't remember, dude. I looked in there and they're like, you didn't understand. I was like, you said storage unit. I'm used to like our storage units around here are like this big. Because
Yeah.
everyone I've helped move around here has moved stuff that's like you can fit easily in one trip in the back of a U-Haul, not multiple U-Haul trips.
I'm glad you specified that because holding your hands up in our purely audio episode to show the sizing was not working out very well.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It was just a reference point for myself. But like, yeah, that was an experience. It was fun. We had a good time. Smoked some meats. Smoked meats are always good. They're good people. But somehow friends with me.
All right. Well, speaking of moving, how do you feel about moving right along into today's issue?
Oh man, like I could throw up for eternity.
Well, of course, this week is Halloween. Not this week that we're recording on, but the week that the episode drops. So we wanted to go ahead and do something kind of on Halloween theme, right, Shane?
Yeah, on brand for the holiday.
So I posted in the Facebook group that we were looking for suggestions, and we got a lot of responses. Maybe not necessarily in the Facebook group, but we also got some emails. I literally had people come up and have actual conversations with me. Um, that's a lot of great suggestions. All of them have been noted for future reference because, I'm sure we'll do Halloween episodes again in the future. But one of our listeners, Bob Wright, suggested not the current volume, but the previous volume of Fantastic Four, Fantastic Four Volume 7, number 26. And, I brought this up to you, Shane, and you seemed pretty set on this issue. What stuck out to you about this that you wanted to cover it today?
Oh, it's just a great Halloween issue, and you don't even realize it's a Halloween issue at first because the hijinks ensue before you realize at the end that it's a Halloween issue. Though
All
they
right.
might make a mention of it early in the thing, but like you lose that. It's just like a quick part in the conversation. The story is fun. I'm here for shenanigans.
Well, I definitely will admit that the story here is fun, and we'd like to thank not only Bob Wright, but everybody else who came out with suggestions for this episode. We'll be doing more like this in the future. So, yeah, Fantastic Four Volume 7, number 26 was cover dated for December of 2024, but was released on October 9th of 2024 with a cover price of $3.99. You know, Shane, this might seem a little premature, but you want to take a guess at what a graded 9.8 copy of this book has sold for via price chart?
Uh, um, $25.
Not one of your closer guesses, still within Price is Right rules, $39.99.
That is way too much money.
Well, you want to know what an ungraded copy has sold for?
Oh, I'm assuming somewhere in the neighborhood of $2.85 or yeah, let's go 285.
You know what? You're at least keeping consistent with how your prices are coming up to what it has sold for. $3.79. So it has sold for 20 cents less than cover price, at least once.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Especially because this is like a year old. It should have been, or it's over a year old, isn't it?
I'm just over a year old as of this recording. Yeah. Yeah, we're recording on the 16th. This was released on the 9th of last year in October. So, writer for this issue is Ryan North. Pencils and inks are Ivan Fiorelli. Colorist is Brian Reber. Letterer is Joe Caramagna. Uh, the editors on this book were Annalise Brissa and Martin Biro, who I believe were the associates, while the primary editor was Tom Brevoort and editor-in-chief C.B. Sobolski. Shane, would you like to hear a synopsis of today's book?
Oh, sure.
The world's smartest man, Reed Richards, universally acknowledged, and the world's hottest man, Johnny Storm, self-proclaimed, are home alone. Their only job is to make sure nothing untoward happens to the farmhouse while everyone else is away. But when Reed develops a magic detector that goes haywire when pointed at a scientific spot in their basement, and Johnny convinces him that they should absolutely start digging up any and all cursed objects they may find, things quickly spiral out of control. Will Reed and Johnny accidentally open a hellmouth underneath dear old Aunt Petunia's farmhouse? Yes. Will they be able to close it and fix everything before the rest of the FF return? That's much less certain. Ghost and Demons star in this special Halloween issue, narrated by both Johnny and Reed.
I mean, it's to the point. It's a long one. It's like a Shane one almost, telling you nothing but everything at the same time.
It's a bit, let's give credit where credit's due. It's a little more coherent than a Shane one. Let's not be too damn angsty here.
Oh, mine are super coherent. I don't know what you're talking about.
So Shane, we of course have the cover of this book. The cover artist for uh, this issue is Joshua Cassara. Take us through the cover.
The main cover, we're going through what are these like cover A, B, C, and D, or is it like just main cover and then variant?
So it's main cover, and then the other covers are actually named variants. So they're not A, B, C, or D. They actually have theme names to them.
Yeah, it's all that. I was just making sure because it's just wild what they do there.
Hey, I do
So
my
fan
homework here, man. Don't take that away from me. I send you
I
all the information I got.
I know. I didn't say it. I wasn't I that's why did I not ask you the question? Uh,
You did, you did.
So for the main cover, you have Johnny and Reed on the cover with a skull that's just literally has blood running out as they're getting Johnny's almost drowning in it and Reed's just trying to stretch his head out as much as possible. and to not get covered in blood. And the bottom says Fantastic Four. It's black. It's got a black background. Blood, obviously, all the way like more than halfway up the cover. Um, the skull has like a blue and green radiating out of it. It's a striking cover. It would have been a cool omnibus cover, to be honest. That's just me. That thing's wild. But yeah. So that's the first one.
All right, well, let's go ahead and the first variant cover that we have to this book is the Doom variant by artist Ben Harvey. Do you want to take us through the Doom variant cover?
Yeah. So the Dune variant cover is possibly the coolest of the variants. I'm not sure. It's up there. It might be my favorite cover of this. I wish I would have known that was there. I would have probably got that. Is this the cover you have? Or did you
No,
not find your
I
copy?
have the main cover.
Okay. So Dune is prominent on this one. Obviously, it's a Doom one. It looks like it's in, would you say that it is in Castle Doom or some structure in Latveria, clearly, with all the architecture there?
I would say it's Castle Doom.
And then um you have Doom holding literally holding Reed by the neck. You have Sue behind him, behind Doom in utter panic. Johnny laying across the steps with like looks like he's flaming out in utter defeat, and you have the Thing just absolutely missing a chunk of his shoulder. And then it looks like as it running down the steps is more of Reed's like lengthy, stretched out body. In this cover, Doom has definitely won whatever he was trying to win.
Yeah, I think importantly, we should note that Ben is actually unconscious here in the lower foreground, um, having been knocked out. And you have the Doom bots that are kind of flanking Dune on either side in the background. Really, really nice touch. Yeah, Reed's very stretched out as he's trying to wrest uh, Victor's grip from his throat. His hand is kind of sliding off of his wrist. Um, Also very stretchy. Yeah, it's very dire circumstances here on this cover.
Yeah, that's a really good cover, and I mean, it would have been a great Doom cover if this story had Doom in it. I would like someone to write the story up to that point, like write a story that's where the Fantastic Four got to.
Well, you kind of got that because this was a cover that was put out, at least I believe, in preparation for the One World Under Doom crossover, where Doom becomes Emperor and he's been defeating the Fantastic Four at every turn, as well as every other hero in the Marvel Universe. So, I mean, hypothetically speaking, you've gotten that story.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and move on to our next variant cover, the Sean Cheeks Galloway Saturday Morning variant cover. What have we got here, Shane?
Okay. This is a fun one. You got Johnny and Ben on the cover, and they're look like they're just laughing and having a good old time. Ben has a shirt that says rocking out, and wearing some red trunks. It's very cartoony. It is like a Saturday morning special. It looks like they're watching some Saturday morning cartoons behind them. It looks like they have two screens on at the same time, and they're just laughing, and Ben's doing some curls with, I wouldn't imagine, they look like they're like 5 pound dumbbells, but I'm sure they're like super heavy dumbbells because his hand's the size of like a car wheel. So,
They're either 5 pound dumbbells or they're shake weights.
yeah, I mean, fair enough. Maybe that's why they're cracking up. I don't know.
So you mentioned the screens. Tell me, who are on the screens?
Well, I know above the left, or I guess it's his right shoulder technically. I know above his right shoulder there you have Mole Man. I'm not exactly sure who it's supposed to be above Mole Man.
I think it's Silver Surfer.
Okay. I was gonna go there, but I wasn't positive. And then you have Super Scroll next, or you have Super Scroll next to him. And then I'm not sure who would be underneath his head because it also looks like it has like a scroll ear. I'm gonna say it's Namor that's supposed to be underneath his jaw with the pointed ear there.
It's a good guess.
Um, then I'm blanking at the other two off the top of my head.
Okay, well, the other two, the ones that are above Johnny, top screen would be Claw, Master of Sound,
Mhm.
and right below him would be Kane the Conqueror.
Yeah, like it wasn't coming. I can even see that as soon as you said claw, I'm like, oh yeah, there it is. I can see it. I can see the little thing. Wasn't coming. But that's a cool cover.
All right, we're gonna move on to our last variant cover, which was the Stormbreakers variant. Stormbreakers being Marvel's up and coming artist, I believe. So the Stormbreakers cover was drawn by Nick Klein. And what do we have here?
Um, well, sticking with the theme of Storm, I guess, breakers. You have Storm on the cover, integrated with the Fantastic Four. You have so she's like not even front and center, but she's like centered up in the top of the on the cover. Then you have a nice flame of Johnny swirling around her, uh, shown a little bit behind her, and then you have Reed zooming around her past the thing and in front of Sue. And Sue's in a force bubble, just protecting herself from something. I'm assuming Storm's Thunder, seeing that she's right behind her, and then Ben just looking all kinds of mean and angry, and ready to clobber somebody.
Yeah, I don't know. I may be in the minority here, but I've always enjoyed seeing Storm with the Fantastic Four. I mean, you're aware that she was a substitute member, right, during Dwayne McDuffie's run.
Yeah, yep.
But yeah, very nicely done taking us through those covers, Shane. I don't think we've ever had to go through so many variants before.
Yeah, I can't wait till we have to do some more of these current runs. And there's like 17 covers.
It's kind of kind of uncharted territory for us today because we have kind of stayed away from doing more recent books. I think as far as we've gotten is what the early 2000s. Otherwise, I think
Yeah,
we've done the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. But we've not really done a current issue. So this is a first for us on a couple different levels today.
yeah, we've done the 60-year jump.
All right. So when we open this comic, page one, we actually get a synopsis of what has come before, as well as we're greeted by Alex Ross images of each of the four. It says, here they are. Ben Grimm, the Thing, Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, Susan Richards, the Invisible Woman, Johnny Storm, the Human Torch. Together they are the Fantastic Four and Alicia Masters Grimm. Couple things on this. One, I really love that they add Alicia into this, but I really got to ask, how do you feel about this Fantastic Four logo that we see not only on this page, but also on the covers?
Oh, with the fantastic and then the little tiny four in the corner there.
Yeah.
I I did not like this. It is what do you call it? There's like I know they call it something. Um it's like a modernization of the logo, making it so simplistic so that everyone it's like more people are to be attracted to it. I think it just makes it boring and bland.
Yeah, I don't feel it's really exciting, honestly.
I like the bombastic. like shadowing around it. I mean, you look at our logo. That's what I'm here for.
which once again like to call out you know, comics letterer Dave Sharp for putting together our logo. Uh, we would not look nearly as cool if not for Dave Sharp. So thanks, Dave, if you're listening. And our what has come before reads to save the world from a vampire invasion, Doctor Strange struck a devil's bargain with Doctor Doom, abdicating his mantle and the mystical powers of the Sorcerer Supreme to Doom. Doom then refused to relinquish his new powers, sealing off his nation of Latveria from the rest of the world and going into seclusion. The Fantastic Four and the rest of the world are now forced to await Doom's next move. And we come to the title of this issue, which is what?
Blood Brothers.
That was a okay synopsis as far as, the events of Blood Hunt earlier in 2024.
Yeah, I mean, it was an event.
Yep. And we turn the page and we get some narration over a black panel. Look, we all know Reed's mega smart with a good head on his shoulders. And Johnny's got a great heart and is always willing to help. So let's all hold real tight to those ideas as we tell you this story, okay? Because I'll admit it, things maybe got a little out of control. And we shift to our scene and see what, Shane?
Oh, we see Reed working on a device, which he eventually was brought up anyway in the thing that says like a magical detector, and Johnny just surfing on his phone as they're just sitting at home with the bucket of candy as Johnny's eating a candy corn.
Um, so you said they're sitting at home. This is not the Baxter building.
Oh yeah. Well, okay. This is like pseudo home for them right now because they've been at this point they've been hanging out at Aunt Petunia's farmhouse.
How do you like the idea of the Fantastic Four living out west in a farmhouse while operating through the Baxter building as their headquarters?
It, it just doesn't feel like the Fantastic Four, like the way that it doesn't feel like my Fantastic Four, let's put it that way. But I do like the idea of the farmhouse. They could have put the farmhouse in upstate New York, you know. I've seen that before happen. It's turtles. But so it is what it is.
As Reed fiddles with his device, he says, there, this magic detector should indicate where magic is being used, which will let us prepare for Doom if and when he returns. Glad you found something to keep you busy. Turns out, not a ton of trick-or-treaters in isolated Arizona farm country, huh? And Reed leads Johnny down to the basement. Odd, though. Many very strong readings below us. Weird. We got ourselves a magic basement or what? No, it's not the entire structure. In fact, it seems rather constrained. Whatever it is, it's beneath this spot and this spot only. Hmm. It's too bad the family's in New York trick-or-treating. Sue could turn this floor invisible and we could easily investigate what's down there. Well, gee, Mr. Fantastic. If only we had some powers of our own then, huh? So this is the first issue that we're covering, like I said, of more or less the current era. And here's a question. How do you feel about Johnny's handlebar mustache?
Dude, I was whined about it when he first had it. I remember texting you about that mustache. That thing is terrible. It's so bad. Don't even try to tell me you like it. There's no way.
Well, here's the thing.
Oh my God, you like it.
Uh, much like facial hair itself, it's kind of growing on me.
Oh, but I don't know, man. I just can't do it. That's coming from a guy with a beard.
Yeah, I mean, You and me both, pal. Reed continues. Johnny, any investigation of ours would be necessarily disruptive. Sue could come home to a surprise, nay joy, of a fully resolved science mystery thanks to her cool husband and number one best brother. Hmm. I notice you're already attempting to shape my hand into a shovel. Come on, it's for science! And Sue! You love both those things. I acquiesced. And then we dug for a bit, and it wasn't long before we hit our first boulder. And they dig into the basement floor, and hitting the boulder makes a sound, Shane.
Ting!
And Reed stretches up and uses his arm as a pry bar to leverage out the boulder. And one of the cool things that Ivan Fiorelli does here is he actually writes out the scientific direction and laws in this panel as to how leverage works.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that also.
I moved it out of the way using a simple application of mechanical advantage. But then we hit a boulder again, and again,
Ting!
and again. And Reed is shouldering the latest boulder up out of the hole to Johnny. Okay, so given how there's another boulder down there, and the basement is already mostly boulders, I'm thinking vaporize that next one? I'm concerned about inhaling vaporized rock. Heat eddies. I can blow it away, no problem. Reed, I'm almost certain I can blow it away, no problem. Even so, I wouldn't recommend it. Johnny, these boulders we moved were all lined, which implies they were placed here intentionally. The data suggests a vertical shaft built carefully and then filled in with what must have been great effort. The parable of Chesterton's fence comes to mind, suggesting we not disturb it any further until we understand why it was built in the first place. But we're so close. And wouldn't the best way to understand it be to find out what's on the other side? I suppose direct observation would supply more data than deduction and supposition alone. Hell yeah, it would. I was totally about to say the same thing. Tell Chesty I'll buy him a new fence. Flame on! And Johnny begins to fill the hole with a pillar of flame.
Yeah, froosh! As he like just so much fire.
And we see a view from the pit up towards Reed and Johnny. And as the heat from Johnny's flame dissipated, we looked into our pit. And I observed that we may have made a mistake. And what happened, Shane?
Oh, dude, all of the ghosts, and it's all animal. All these animal ghosts just pop out from inside that cylinder or that hole they dug in the ground. It's a cool page. They're all like light blue. You get a wonderful, what is that, like a foof right through the middle of it. Oh, you can just hear the noise. It's like when the in Ghostbusters when the thing breaks and they let release all the ghosts.
And Johnny looks absolutely panicked. Oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, flame off, flame off! Johnny Storm and Reed Richards in Blood Brothers. And Reed and Johnny begin to throw the boulders back into the hole. The boulders! They must have been holding these ghosts back. By converting my fingers to rigid rollers, the friction coefficient was significantly reduced by as much as zero point 0.5 by my estimate. Yes, that's what I was thinking about just then, too. I just love to estimate friction coefficients in crisis situations.
Then you get a nice in the roar as they're trying to push and shove these rocks back into or these boulders back into the hole that they dug.
Johnny picks one up and yells, Heave! And finally, they fill the hole mostly, and it seems to be doing the trick. Johnny yells, Yes! Oh my God! That was so hard! Agreed. I take it all back. Ben is a super valued member of this team. Holy Hannah. So I'm thinking we maybe kind of accidentally opened a Hellmouth, right? But for Ghost, a ghost mouth? Being held back by magic boulders, I guess. It was more than that, Jonathan. Whatever they were, these ghosts, as you call them, responded with once living species from across Earth's history. It's consistent with a truly fantastic supposition. Could these somehow be echoes of everything that has ever died on this particular area of land? If so, it's remarkable. The research we could do on the beetles alone. Yeah, man, I totally want to do science on ghost beetles too, but first we gotta round those ghosts up before the others get home, and then we gotta. And there starts to be a noise, Shane.
Yeah, you get a kick.
Did you hear something?
You get more.
Aw, dang it. And what happens?
So you get a giant explosion. You get as the just blows right out the top of Aunt Petunia's farmhouse in utter destruction. Did I ever mention the Fantastic Four can't be trusted with private property?
Once or twice. But yeah, the ghosts are apparently powerful enough to just hurl those boulders into the air now. And I do enjoy the next panel of just Johnny and Reed absolutely wide-eyed at what has occurred.
Yeah, just straight panic.
Yeah. And Johnny attempts to just blast flame into this pillar of ghosts.
Yeah, you get a nice whoosh as he's just trying to put as much fire in there as he can.
Okay, maybe if I. Nope. It's possible that I could, and Reed throws his hands over the hole, but the ghosts just keep coming through that. Never mind. Okay, so clearly those boulders used to be enough to hold back the ghost, but no longer. Did we open a portal between dimensions or something? A portal. Of course. That's it, Johnny. Reed begins running up the stairs. Reed! Stay here and explore alternate hypotheses. I'll be back shortly. And Reed runs outside the house and grabs the garden hose from the barn or the garage, not sure which, and runs back into the house and down the stairs with it, much to Johnny's consternation. That's your idea? A hose? Ghosts aren't weak against water, Reed. If I'm correct, a hose is all we need. And he begins feeding the hose into the hole. Magic or not, the fact normal boulders were initially used to seal this portal suggests that matter from our world can still interact with and even take precedence over matter and energy from theirs, which, yes, look, Johnny, it's closing. Whatever gateway there is, it can only transmit things through itself in one direction at a time, just like this hose. So if enough stuff's going into it from our world, then nothing can come out of it from theirs. Perfect. We did it. Now, Reed, I've seen several movies in which a couple of wacky teens manage to repair their damaged house minutes before their parents get home. So, with a little luck and a little montage, I'm certain we can. It's not that easy. This problem is patched but not solved. Our solution only works so long as we can sustain a constant stream of matter into the portal. But even oceans run dry. Unfortunately, without an infinite source of matter, this solution is going to fail, and we'll be right back where we started. This time, Johnny's the one who runs up the stairs. Right. Okay, hold on. I think I have an idea. Johnny, I'm all ears. Just a sec. It's on my tablet upstairs. And meanwhile, Reed stands there holding the hose into the pit. Yeah, while Johnny looks down through the hole in the ceiling and says, You're supposed to come see it, Reed. The hose doesn't need you to hold it there. Oh, coming. And Reed joins Johnny in the kitchen. You say we need an infinite stream of matter to solve this, which can't exist in the normal world. And I say we're already deep into Spookums territory with a ghost hellmouth buried under the house. So why not lean into it? And what does Johnny show Reed on his tablet?
Today's paranormal news that there is a blood vomiting skull that is going to be used to welcome Mongroth, destroyer of flesh, to our realm.
If we're to assume this reporting is credible, then you're suggesting what? That we steal a cursed skull from a gang of occultists to forever plug this ghost portal? Exactly, Reed. Look, I don't know who the dread Mongaroth, the charnel destroyer of flesh is, but I can tell you he doesn't sound good. This is us saving people. Nate, saving the world. We should be doing this stuff anyway, Hellmouth or no Hellmouth. Real hero stuff. Does the article say where the occultists are? Already looked into it myself. The catacombs of Paris. Those are centuries old ossuaries filled with the bones of millions of the long dead and constructed after the city's cemeteries literally overflowed into people's basements. You don't have to sell me on it, man. It already sounds great. They got walls of skulls and everything. Come on, the teleporter's upstairs. And our scene shifts, and we see fire, and the camera pulls out, revealing it to be coming from the eyes of a skull that's wearing a teeny tiny top hat.
Yeah,
And
it is a teeny tiny top hat for the size of that head.
and Reed's narration continues. There's a school of philosophical thought called positivism. It says that everything that's true can be understood and that this understanding can be arrived at through logic, science, and reason. It sounds great, does it not? No gods, no monsters. Just a nice rational universe that, if you work at it, you can fully comprehend. It's what I've always believed. It's what I still believe, despite everything. And we turn our page, and what do we see here, Shane?
We see Johnny and Reed with the skull in hand running from cultists, just firing shots blindly down the corridor that they are taking off from in the catacombs underneath Paris.
And those shots make a sound.
Yeah, you get a nice ploop, ploop, ploop.
Keep running, Reed. We're almost home free. Here's something interesting about Johnny and his uh, flamed on appearance fully. His mustache is gone. I don't necessarily understand that.
Uh, Maybe that's just an art thing. I don't know.
Well, it's
Maybe
definitely an
it's
art thing.
no, I meant maybe it's too hard to keep the mustache in flame. Is it missing in all of the ones where he's on flame?
I'm pretty certain that has been a consistent thing throughout this run.
Huh, that's even weirder. Maybe he glues on the mustache after he flames on. That makes the mustache even worse.
Yeah, I don't want to think that Johnny's just rocking a fake mustache. That's too much. Keep running, Reed. We're almost home free. Grr. Seems self-evident that we are nowhere near being either home or free, Johnny. Get them! Kill the interlopers! And meanwhile, and the skull just goes, bleh. It occurs to me, Johnny, that mere hours ago I was happily working on my next invention. Bleh. And now you've got a cute little magic skull guy spewing blood everywhere. That's life, baby. It also occurs to me that this skull could be harnessed as a power source. If we were to hook its flow of blood up to a water wheel powering a generator, then we've produced a slow but steady source of current. Bleh. Furthermore, it could absolutely solve the problem of rocketry, given that the thrust any blood as fuel combustion provides would carry a corresponding increase in the weight to be moved. Reed, it's a dead end. We gotta fight these guys. Right, of course. And Reed and Johnny turn around from the end of the hall. I go for my catchphrase. It's awesome and it's fun and it's intimidating. Flame on! Reed goes in a different direction. Greetings. Have you somehow never considered the myriad of ways in which an artifact that produces mass without energy could better humanity? And Reed comes charging at the cultist leader, avoiding more shots.
Yep. Poop, poop.
Unfortunately, we had to resort to physical violence to preserve the skull of Shianta. What he's saying is we had a rad fight scene with the occultists. Violence is never rad, Johnny. And what happens when this cultist tries to take a shot at Reed's head?
Reed literally separates his head in half to let the shot go through using his um like rubberness in the one of the coolest ways I've ever seen him use it. I really like the splitting of his head.
Ha! Missed me. And Johnny, meanwhile, was literally flamed on, flying, kicking another cultist in the face. Reed's right. It was super dull and boring to be using literal superpowers while battling a cultist in a secret crypt lined with skulls, which was, I will add, also slowly filling with skull blood. Honestly, I could barely keep my eyes open. And the cultist actually falls and just lands directly in the puddle of blood that has been forming on the cavern floor. We turn the page and we see Reed and Johnny back in the basement, and they have placed the skull on a pedestal, and it's just spewing blood into the Hellmouth. In any case, we defeated the occultist, alerted the authorities, and returned back home with the skull of Shianta and its endless vomitous blood in hand. There, the last of the torrent of ghosts is closing as the skull's blood clogs the channel. Perfect! Then we carefully refilled the hole, leaving, of course, a pathway for the blood to enter the portal. Then all that was left was a layer of concrete on top of my patented quick cure flames, and the old basement floor was good as new. We see Reed and Johnny standing triumphantly with a broom and a dustpan and a bucket, shaking hands, despite the fact that there are literally 3 holes above them from the basement glaring
Yeah.
up into the night sky.
Yeah, that is such a good it's such a good picture to show them like they're so confident. They're like, yeah, we did it. And like not thinking about the sheer mess above their heads.
And now we once
Oh,
again see Reed and Johnny in the kitchen, telling the end of their story. And that, my friends, is how we solved the problem of the basement hellmouth forever. And then you showed up, and that just about catches you up. Obviously, we intend to repair the rest of the house as soon as possible. And we get a glimpse at the rest of the family, and who do we see, and how are they dressed here? Shane, let's go left to right.
so we see the entirety of the family with the Masters Grimm adopted kids and all. Um, you have Sue as Indiana Jones. Um, well, I can't think of her name right now.
Nakala?
Nakala as Captain Marvel. We go with Alicia as a detective. Then you get Valerie as Dune. And you get the dog as Jeff the shark.
Princess? Princess, don't sleep on Princess.
And then you get Ben as I'm assuming he's supposed to be some mix between Merlin and Gandalf.
He is supposed to be Gandalf.
You get what is man,
J
I
Joven.
Joe Venn is Captain America, and then you get Franklin as Spider-Man. Just
And
a big happy family.
oh yeah, happy. Yeah, sure.
Well, two of them are happy. They got to play with a Hellmouth today.
It's true. And Indiana Sue just has her arms crossed, very unamused, and says, right. While Alicia, with her hands on her hips, says, I just bet you do. And let's not forget how we saved Earth from the dread charnel destroyer of mortal flesh himself, Mangaruth. Mangaruth. Him too, probably. We left you two bozos home one night and you blew boulders through my dear old Aunt Petunia's roof? You two are such bad influences on each other. Sue, we are not. Some people wish their brother and husband got along as well as we do. At least you and Ben squabble. You and Reed just encourage each other. With nobody around to stop you, the two of you just turn your shenanigans up to 11, chasing after every single zany scheme that drifts into your heads. Zany feels a little unfair. Again, if I could draw your attention to how the dread Mongaroth is not charnally destroying any mortal flesh at present, I think you'll see, honey, you're supposed to be the smartest man in the universe. And yet, in the space of 4 hours, Reed, 4 hours, you dug a pit inside our house to a hellmouth, which you opened, and then you fixed by stealing a cursed blood skull from French cultist, which is wearing a teeny little magic top hat and is now forever puking blood into another dimension under our basement. I mean, yes, but we're reliably informed it's prophesized to spew blood until the stars themselves go out, darling. No other skull can make this claim. Please tell me you at least rounded up all those ghosts. Sue, did we round up the ghost? Please, of course we did. We sent every single one of the ghosts, with some limited exceptions, back through the portal. Reed made a machine to do exactly that. Look, it's your family's house, Ben. You tell them what you want. I mean, as long as they fix it up tomorrow morning, then I guess it's okay. Seeing as how they did kind of stop this Mangaroth fella from eating everyone's skin or whatever. You told a tale of tremendous battle, Uncles Reed and Johnny. I'm sorry I missed it, says Joven, while Nikala jumps in with, Same. Can we please dig up the skull and see it? No, Nikki. The first thing they teach you at mom's school is not to let your kids disturb any cursed skulls. While Franklin jumps in. But mom could make the ground invisible. Please, just a little peek. While Valeria adds, We won't disturb it. Just for a minute. A second? Dang it. Fine. Everyone head down to the basement. And Sue projects invisibility over the recently filled pit, and everyone sees the skull. And Nikki lets out a cool, while our skull once again lets out another bleh. Now come on, kids. It's way past your bedtime. Incidentally, some of their beds may have been demolished. I'll get the air mattresses and sleeping bags. Hey, who wants to go Halloween camping with their cool Uncle Johnny in the front yard? And all the kids yell, Me, raise their hands. And we turn the page, and what do we see, Shane?
We see Johnny passed out in a tent with well, some ghosts still flying around Aunt Petunia's uh cabin in Arizona. It's a real sweet thing, you know. He has everyone out there. He has all the kids out there in the tent with him. With the door open, which is just wild. I guess you could do that in Arizona. You don't have to worry about bugs. There's
Yeah.
bugs in the ghost bugs though.
Yeah, you got like a giant mosquito or dragonfly. It's a giant dragonfly. You've got. They just proved that the brontosaurus was an actual dinosaur. I feel like they did. Maybe I'm wrong. The listeners will let us know if we're wrong, but it looks like a brontosaurus from what I learned in grade school back there. There's also, yeah, butterflies and just, yeah, it's a very surreal but gorgeous rendering of the farmhouse, despite the fact that there's massive damage to the roof.
Yeah, without the roof damage, it would look like a normal night that someone was just camping in the front yard.
All right, and
But
that wraps up today's issue. What are your thoughts there, Shane?
I like this issue. I thought it was fun. It's a good little romp for a holiday, like a holiday issue. And the
The
story
ho
is contained in one book.
which I do like when we have single issue stories. Yeah, I also thought this was a very fun Halloween special. You don't get too often these days, in my experience, like actual holiday themed issues. So, this was really refreshing in an issue of Fantastic Four.
The last one I can think of that wasn't this one is the Turtles silent issue they did during in the old run of IDW. It's like 130 or 131.
I'm glad you specified because if you're just going to leave that at old run, the Turtles have had so many volumes at different companies. I was probably going to tear my hair out unless you specified.
So 124 in the IDW run that just ended was a silent issue.
For which holiday? Halloween?
No, it was actually for Christmas.
Okay.
It's a really good story. Highly recommend checking that out.
Well, Shane, do you want to get us started on our four things for this week?
Yeah, so we'll do start with Fantastic Frame.
Alrighty.
All right, so my Fantastic Frame was page 18. Yeah, 18 panel 2. So that's the panel where they all show up and their costumes because that was so much fun. I liked seeing them all dressed up as other superheroes and other like pop culture icons. I thought that was fun.
No, it is very fun. And seeing Franklin dressed up as Spider-Man, uh, Ivan Fiorelli has kind of a Mark Bagley style to his artwork, which I didn't really realize until I saw the Franklin as Spider-Man here on this panel.
Oh yeah, that is creepily like Bagley now that you bring it up. Thank you.
Well, we got to bring some, you want to say creepy, we got to bring some creepy aspects up in the Halloween episode, right?
Yeah. But that's mine. I just liked it. It was a cool panel. There's other really cool panels like the panel with the floor blowing up and all, but this one was just like a nice touching one. I don't know. That was just the one for me. What was yours, bud?
Page 14, panel 1, which is Reed and Johnny on the run from the cultists. They look like they're having the time of their lives, quite frankly. Reed literally has a smile on his face as he's on the run from these while dodging gunfire. Johnny also big grin on his face. You see this temple that has been in the background that has been built beneath Paris in the catacombs. But the thing that I love the most about it is that you have the skull and its tiny top hat and the flames, and it's just saying, nah. It's my favorite gag of the whole issue is just this skull in nearly every panel it's in, just going, bleh. It's great.
It's a good time. I like that one. That one was it was a contender for me for sure, but I'll ultimately just went with like because it's such a it's a Halloween issue. I went with like the Halloween costume thing. But I really like this one too, especially because the guns like pages later, you see that the guns are hearts. They have to squeeze the hearts to fire the weapon. I think that's hilarious.
I didn't notice that before. That's a great call out, Shane.
Yeah. So there's like it's a real thing. It's like they squeeze the heart to fire it. So I almost put that in there just because like that was so like they thought it out so much that they had to actually squeeze the heart to fire. That was like a cool like, hey, we're gonna build these weird cultists and we're gonna really do some deep stuff. And then like you could just go buy it if you weren't paying attention.
So, on the other hand, what I didn't like about this issue and what is my grim grumbling is page 16, panel 2, which is where the cultist takes a shot at Reed and Reed literally tears his own head in half to avoid it. For the most part, like I like Brian North's run on Fantastic Four, but there are ways that he has Reed utilized his powers that I just don't necessarily agree with as being part of the power set of elasticity, where we get more into the power set of a shapeshifter. and this is one of them. I mean, if this was, say, a Justice League book, and I saw the Martian Manhunter do this, fine, makes sense. Shapeshifter. Reed's powers are elasticity. Being able to tear your head in half, that just that doesn't speak to me as being part of that power set. I feel Reed's powers need to have some sort of limits on them in order to, you know, keep a sense of at least suspense and danger for our characters. We know in the long run it's comics, they're going to be fine in the end, but having a little
Brett.
bit of suspension of disbelief and thinking that the characters are in danger is important to me still in a story. And just the way that Reed's powers have kind of been amped up to not even 11, way past that, and he's in shapeshifter territory, kind of just doesn't sit with me.
Well, like it wasn't even just his head. Like if you take a real like if you say if you scroll in, I don't know what you're using right now, but if you zoom in, it's actually like through his whole shoulder blades. It's like they had to move his whole spine one way or the other.
Yeah. I know
So
you
it's
said you
like,
liked that panel and you thought it was super cool. I don't want to take away from that, but it just didn't land with me.
yeah, no, I really just liked I like the skull behind it, like right there directly where the shot is, because it almost looks like his skull fell out because of all, but like it's just a regular skull that's just laying on the floor in the catacombs. But it was just like a reference point. I was like, oh, that could have happened if Reed wasn't thinking about it. But he's Reed, so he's obviously thinking about what he was doing. Just saying.
What about you? What was your grim grumbling for this time around?
Reed listening to Johnny, just falling for Johnny's shenanigans. So like I have page 2 through 5 where he just like, and then page 11 when he gets him to go get the skull. Like if he just doesn't let Johnny form his hand into a shovel and start shoveling up the ground, the rest of this issue doesn't happen. I get that. But like, Reed, you're the smartest man on earth. Why are you listening to Johnny Storm? Sue's right. You two should never be unsupervised alone because you two are just full of shenanigans and you guys literally do amp each other up. They're like each other's hype man because they're both like, we can do that. We'll try it. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, no, Sue definitely had a point this issue. Not that Sue doesn't have points, in any other issues. It's just, she is spot on here. Did you think it was out of character for Reed to listen to Johnny?
No. I thought it was perfectly in character for him to listen to Johnny when no one else is around to stop him from listening to Johnny. Because I think Reed's science mind was like, well, it would be cool to see what's at the bottom of this hole.
So what was your cosmic cliffhanger for this issue?
That one was the one I had a real hard time with, but I did. I don't know about yourself. For me, it was real hard.
I had one very clear choice that I went with.
For me, it was page 13, panel 4. So it's when you just see the eyes of fire and the little top hat on top of the skull, because you have no idea what's going on after that. It's just like it's a black background. You see a top hat, skulls with a skull with eyes on fire, and then it's like, where are we going from here?
It does tend to lend itself to curiosity, I will say that much.
Yeah, I would if I was a cat, I would be dead. What about yourself?
So my choice was page 8, panel 4. You have a nice horror movie-esque shot from inside the pit looking up at Reed and Johnny, who think that they have solved the problem right before all hell breaks loose again. So that's
Legitimately.
exactly. And I was real anxious to get the page turned and see just what the consequences of their actions are going to be.
That's a real good one. All right, so we have one last one left, which is most fantastic player or most fantastic
Yeah, MFP.
influenced. Yeah, MFP. Uh,
So my choice for most fantastic player, this may come as a surprise, was Johnny.
wow.
Like, yeah, he does have the initial thought that causes this entire mess, but he also takes Reed's idea of an unlimited resource and devises a solution. Is it ridiculous? Yes. The whole issue's ridiculous, but he makes a mess, he cleans it up more or less. I mean, he even, solves the problem of the kids not necessarily having beds to sleep in by taking them all out into the front yard at the end of the issue and camping with them. So yeah, I'm gonna give MFP to Johnny this issue. What about you?
I actually went with Reed on this one for page 10 when he figures out about when he starts to figure out putting the whole idea together with the hose. And then I had page 17 where he remembers that he has to make sure that they leave a tunnel so that the vomit constantly goes into the hole. That was mine for this one. Yeah, I wrote for Reed using his brain, but they're both dumb because they both just I don't know how else to word it.
I mean, I can't disagree with you. Everyone has their own intellectual faults, even the smartest man in the universe, right?
Yeah, apparently his is like just getting egged on. You just have to have the right guy to just be like, well, we could try it. And Johnny is definitely the guy that will be like, let's try it.
Oh, he sure is that. Well, Shane, you want to hear what we are getting into next week?
Yeah.
So, next week we are
So
going to once again travel back to the 1960s and we are going to cover Fantastic Four Volume 1, Number 7 by Stanley and Jack Kirby.
yeah, okay. My notes are still right. Wrong dates because of the layoff, but I'm there.
So, how do you feel about going back to Volume 1 after this?
It's been so long since we've done a Jack and Stan book. I'm almost frightened to see how Jack writes Sue. We've had so much good Sue recently. I'm really sad to see go back to where she should only work at Dior.
Well, we'll see how Stan and Jack handle this going forward. It's an interesting issue, so I can't wait to get your thoughts on it. Well, any final thoughts regarding Fantastic Four Volume 7, number 26 before we call it a day today?
No, should be in a back bin somewhere though. I would highly recommend buying it. It's fun, and you could read it on Halloween every year because it's like a quick read. It doesn't take that long.
All right, so just a reminder that your feedback, as always, is important to us. We would highly appreciate if you could leave us a 5-star review on Apple or a comment or review on Spotify. As always, you can subscribe to us on your preferred listening platform so we show up in your feed each and every week. Again, we are on Facebook. Just search for the Fantastic Four Fancast, where you can be like our listener Bob Wright, who made the suggestion for this episode, or other listeners such as Barry Reese or Sean Pritchard, all two made suggestions. So we encourage you to engage in those FF related discussions and share Fantastic Four related content. Just adhere to those group rules and be respectful of others. You can follow us on Instagram at Fan4Fancast. That is FAN, the number 4, FANCAST. And finally, you can contact us by email at fan4fancast@gmail.com. Again, that is FAN, the number 4, FANCAST@gmail.com. It's another great way to make suggestions.
We have had great feedback, and it's really nice to get some feedback. It's nice to not be talking at the wind.
Agreed. Well, for Shane Murray, I'm Nate Charles, and we will see you again next week. Until then, stay fantastic.